What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we are in the shop with the BRZ and the 3UZ, and we're going to go over some things that you should be checking over on your newly acquired, whether it be JDM, used engine, before you commit and install it in your vehicle. Now, following the very things we are going to talk about here is what saved me from this absolute boat anchor here. Following the inspections that I'm going to mention here is what led us to found that this engine was low on compression, low, had high leak down numbers, and it had some cylinder head issues from sitting and being improperly stored. So I want to help you guys avoid the same situation and make sure that you get a good foundation for your engine swap or for your build. So the first thing that you want to do when your driver drops your engine off and they ask you to sign for it, a lot of times they'll have these things completely wrapped up in cellophane. This one was, you're going to want to unwrap it and you're going to want to check it for shipping damages before you accept the shipment. If there is anything wrong with this engine that you feel is not repairable or is more than you're willing to have to deal with, don't accept it, send it back. So you're going to unwrap it and you're just going to take a lap around the engine. You're going to check all the little mounting bosses, where the motor mounts go, and you're just going to make sure that there's no chipped aluminum, broken bosses off the block, broken mounts, things like that. In our case, this engine ended up being in very nice shape. It's a little bit more naked than the last time you saw it. I did pull the engine harness off of it, and I did pull the power steering pump off of it because we were waiting for a power steering delete bracket. This engine came with hydraulic power steering. We don't need it because the BRZ uses electric, so I went ahead and removed it. But this is basically what I did is I took a lap around the engine. I looked underneath it. You can see we have a little bit of damage here, just some paint got scraped off the oil pan. I'm going to paint that before, I put the engine in the car. So there was really nothing major wrong with this, and we were happy with the condition of the engine. And at that point, we did obviously sign the paper and accept it, and now it's ours. Now, when you buy a used engine, they usually come with some sort of a warranty, whether it be 3 month, 6 month, 1 year, what have you. However, that warranty does not cover the accessories. They cover the block only. So you are free to replace whatever accessories here that you want and not affect your warranty. So what I always recommend you do is just come over here and you spin all your pulleys. If you hear that bearing's a little bit loose, a little noisy, I'm going to replace it. Go ahead and spin this one. Nice and quiet. Spin this one. A little noisy. We're going to replace it. Now, in this case, our alternator is also a little bit noisy. So again, it's going to be replaced. But if you come over to your air conditioner, there's 2 pulleys that you're going to want to check. You're going to want to check the clutch, nice and quiet. And then you're going to spin the center of the compressor. And you can actually hear the compressor trying to compress. So the AC compressor is good. And that's about it. And this idler pulley here, I guess you could say, is good. So again, we're going to be replacing the alternator. We have one here. And then here we have 2 idler pulleys. Again, I'm going to replace this main pulley here. That second idler is going to be mounted here on a bracket where the power steering pump was. And then there's a Toyota box over here somewhere. There we go. Right there with a belt tensioner on it that is also going to be replaced. So we're going to have all tip-top shape accessories on this engine before we drop it in. Now, one of the last external checks that I think you should do, or kind of external, you're going to want to peek down the throat of the throttle body. And that was where we found the biggest issue with the engine that we received the first time, the one over there in the corner of the boat anchor. I'm going to put a couple pictures in right here. And what happened with that engine is it was stored incorrectly, either outdoors or in the vehicle with the hood open without the intake tube on it. And moisture got in here and it completely corroded the inside of the intake. And that moisture really set in. And what ended up happening is it pitted the valve seats on the intake valves, and the engine just doesn't seal. So what you should do, you should take a flashlight, and you're just very gently, you'll see my fingers here, just very gently open up the throttle body, and you're going to want to peek inside of it with a flashlight. you should see a very, very thin coat of oil on everything on the inside of the intake. And that's gonna tell you that there's no moisture in there. If you see any corrosion similar to the pictures that you saw earlier, send it back, run away. Because once you pull this intake off, you're gonna find even worse damage in those ports, I promise you. So after you've done that, I would say your next step would be, depending on the engine you have, if you have a Toyota engine, there's a good chance that if you open this oil filler, you're not really gonna be able to see much because a lot of these are baffled. So you could try to peek in through the oil filter and get a good look at the valve train. But if you want to get up close and personal with this thing and see what kind of a service life it's had, your best bet is to just bite the bullet and pull one of these valve covers off, depending on the engine you have. If you have a V engine, there's going to be 2 valve covers. Just pick one. One side's going to look the same as the other. If it's a 4-cylinder or an inline 6, something like that, just pull the valve cover and take a look. This one comes off super easily, a bunch of 10mm bolts. So we're going to go ahead, pull the coils, pull all the valve cover bolts, and let's lift off this valve cover and see what we're looking at. And once you have them all off, you go ahead and pull your coils. Inspect the boots, inspect the coil. You'll see here this coil's got a little bit of a hairline crack in it. That's something we're going to be on the lookout for. I do have a bunch of spare coils from that other engine, so I may have to, you know, kind of move them around a little bit. But this valve cover should be just about ready to come off. Sometimes you just have to give them a little bit of an assist. You just pick a corner with a flathead screwdriver, just pry it up a little bit. You'll feel it break the seal. Now in my case, I very, very, very much like what I see here. Let me get a flashlight and we'll get you guys a little bit more up close and personal with this engine. Relatively low mileage and in exceptional shape. It looks like whoever owned this car in Japan, that little Japanese guy took very good care of this. You could see the oil is a little bit dirty. It's probably just about due for an oil change, but you could see a very, very light varnish in here. Varnish is to be expected, especially with, you know, sometimes cheaper oils. You go to those quick lube places. You just don't want to see any sludge deposits, and I don't see any on here. Now you're going to take a look at your cam lobes. You're going to inspect for wear. And again, here, I'm not really seeing much of anything that's going to be concerning. So pulling a valve cover will get you up close and personal with the inside of your engine, and it is a very good indicator of how the engine was maintained. When you pull yours, you should expect to see this or better. If you see worse than this, you see sludge anywhere, anything like that, call the company you got it from, tell them you want another one, because I would not be spending any money or putting any money into something to swap into a vehicle that you're going to keep if it is not in perfect condition or close to it. So these next few things I'm going to show you are going to require some specialty tools. You are going to need access to an air compressor. In the case of the 3UZ, if I've wanted to, I could full well do a compression test on this because the starter is in the valley of the engine, not on the belt housing of the transmission. So I don't need a transmission on this engine to crank it. But that's not going to be the case with a lot of you guys that are watching this that don't have a UZ engine. So I'm not even going to bother doing a compression test. We're going to skip straight to leak down. And leak down is a lot more of, how do I say this? So compression testing is more of a dynamic thing. It's when the engine's moving. Leak down is static, and it's kind of going to give you a better idea of how everything in the engine is sealing. Compression is just going to show you a number at the end, and if all of the 8, 4, 6, whatever cylinders are at about the same number, you're usually good. But leak down is going to give you a better idea of what's going on, and it's going to tell you where your issue is if you have it. So let's go ahead and show you how to do one. To make this easy, we're going to use cylinder number 1 because I could see where top dead center is on the front of the crank. So we're going to go ahead, we'll pull this coil, we'll pull this plug. While you have the plug out, just take a look at it, see how it looks. We have already done a leak down test on this engine, and it is in good shape. We have less than like 5% leak down on all the cylinders. And we did oil the cylinders because I wasn't sure how long this was going to sit. So when I do pull this plug, there's going to be some oil on it. I put it in there, just be wary of that. But again, we'll go ahead and pull that coil, pull that plug. I'll show you what's up. So again, our plug is oily because we oiled these cylinders, but you're just going to want to take a look at your plug. You want to make sure that it's not white. You want like a nice gray or a little bit of like a darker brown on it. Again, this looked like that before I oiled it. So just check out your plug, see how the electrode looks. If it looks burnt or it looks melted, you might have an issue that you can check with a bore scope. We have one over there. We're going to show you how to scope your cylinder next. But let's show you the leak down, and again, this will give you a very good indication of how healthy your engine is as far as making horsepower is concerned. So we went ahead and pulled all these spark plugs on this side, so we're going to do, this is going to be bank number 1. So this is going to be cylinder 1 right here. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to drop either a long screwdriver or a extension like we have basically down the spark plug tube, and you want to get this engine to top dead center. Now it's important that you find top dead center of the compression stroke, because if you don't, there is a chance that your exhaust valves will be open because you'll be at top dead of the exhaust stroke. So in order to find top dead center, you're going to basically keep going until this stops moving. That's going to tell you you're at top dead center. Now, one thing that's important to note, on an engine like this is imported from Japan. I don't know how long this engine's been sitting. So what you do want to do when you pull your spark plugs, just put a couple of drops of oil in each hole. Spin the engine around a couple of times. That way you get that oil into the rings and everything. A dry engine is inherently not going to seal well, and there's a good chance that all of the oil film that has been built up in this engine has drained down because it's been sitting. So we did go ahead and do that. We just used a little drip bottle like this. We just put a couple drips in each cylinder. But let's go ahead. We're gonna set up our leak down tester. And we're gonna pump some air in this thing and see what it holds. So we're using an OTC 5609. I'll leave something similar in the video description below. You're just gonna go ahead, drop your hose down there and tighten it. You'll feel when the O-ring bottoms out. That's it. Let's connect this to some shop air. I'll show you what's next. So in order to check leak down, you're gonna go ahead and plug in your leak down tester to air. You're gonna wanna zero your gauges out. And then you're gonna go ahead and plug your gauge in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to slowly turn this knob clockwise, and we're going to continue to add pressure. And we want the gauge on the left to read 100. Once that is at 100 PSI, we then compare this number to that number, and whatever this number is the percentage that the cylinder is holding. So right now, this number 1 cylinder has 0% leak down. That is fantastic. Usually you want to see under 10%. So as long as this gauge here would be at 90 PSI or above is good. So the fact that we're at 100 is fantastic. Now, if you end up with high leak down numbers, like I mentioned earlier, there are a couple of different places you need to check. You need to check the intake manifold, open up the throttle body, take a peek. You can come over by the exhaust ports, take a peek, take a listen. You want to remove the oil cap, stick your ear up to that. And in worst case scenario, you're going to want to put your ear right up to one of the coolant ports. If you hear bubbles or air hissing out of the cooling system, you have a big problem. You're going to be pulling cylinder heads, maybe finding some cracks or some other damage. So definitely, if you have something going on like that, I would ask for another engine. Again, you want to start with as good of a foundation, as good of a platform as you can, because you're going to be running this thing in a car that you're planning on keeping for a long time. So the next thing that we are going to be doing is what's known as bore scoping the cylinders. What a bore scope is it's basically a little camera here that you see, you point to that stuff and you can see it. And I mean, that's basically what a camera is. But it's really skinny and it fits into small holes. So we're gonna go ahead and stick it down into the spark plug tube and we're gonna take a look. Now, we're not so much worried about what the top of the piston looks like. What we wanna see is the cylinder walls themselves. So what you can do is you can try to bend the probe a little bit. Sometimes if you push it into the piston and kind of get the, you know, this wire here to like bend a little bit, you can see the walls of the cylinder better. So that's what we're trying to do here. We want to see how the crosshatch looks. Make sure we don't have any vertical scoring or anything crazy going on. If you could see a nice visible crosshatch, your engine is going to be healthy. So if you look right in this corner here, you can see the crosshatch, and we can rotate this tool around and that'll let us see the rest of the crosshatch. Again, I'm looking in that bottom left corner and I'm just rotating this, and you can see there's really no vertical scoring on this, and the walls look to be in beautiful shape. So again, you're going to do this to all 4, 6, or 8 cylinders, and it's going to give you an idea of how the inside of your engine is mechanically. So after following these steps, you should now know if you have a dud or a stud. So you're either going to have something you're going to keep or you're not going to keep. So you have 3 choices basically. At this point, you can either say, this one's no good, give me another one. You could say, oh, this is awesome. You could drop it in the car and you can go. Or you could say, oh, this is awesome. Let's freshen this thing up so once it's in the car, we don't have to touch it again. And that's the route we're going to go. So with the 3UZ FE, this is a belt-driven interference engine. So it does use a timing belt and it's interference. So if this belt breaks, we are in big trouble. We don't want that. So we're going to be completely stripping this engine down, and we're going to be taking care of everything. We're going to reseal this whole thing. We're going to be doing the timing belt. We're going to be resealing the oil pump. We're going to do a front main seal. We're going to do rear main seal. We're going to do cam seals, valve cover gaskets, intake gaskets. We're basically going to do a maintenance refresh on this thing. So basically it's going to be reset to a new engine. All the hard parts are going to stay the same. Obviously it's only got between 30 and 60,000 miles on it from what the JDM company that sold it to me said. But we're going to completely refresh all of the maintenance items on this engine to like new condition. So everything's going to be resealed. That way, once it's in its home here under the hood of this BRZ, it could stay under there for 10, 15 years before I have to touch it. And the next time I touch it, I'll probably have to do another timing belt on it if I still have it. Not by mileage, but by time, just because I'm anal. And again, on an interference engine, it's not worth risking. So I hope this video helped you check out your JDM engine or your junkyard engine, or maybe an engine that you've had that's been sitting around that you want to put into service. Hopefully you guys had good results like we did, and you have a good foundation and you can move on with your project. Again, that's where we're at. So in our next video, you're going to see us doing the timing belt, the water pump. We're going to basically, like I said earlier, we're going to do a maintenance reset on this thing, and we're going to get it completely ready for the swap. Again, we're going to be deleting the power steering, converting it to electric power steering, and we're really going to get our gears going, get this thing ready, because once this engine is ready to go in the car and I have my swap harness, it's all hands on deck. That engine's coming out, this engine's going in, and we're going to try to get this thing running as soon as we possibly can. So please like, share, subscribe, stay tuned. We'll see you next time.